Okay, so for my project, I'm choosing to do coral bleaching because I feel like it's a very important problem that people need to become more aware about. But yet, not a lot of people know about the problem and know how humans are affecting it, and they don't know how we can change the destiny of what's eventually going to happen to our corals. So coral has a symbiotic relationship with the algae called zooxanthellae algae, and coral bleaching destroys this relationship. Coral bleaching can be caused by a majority of things, including water pollution, rise in water acidity, but the main thing that causes water bleaching is rise in water temperature. Because zooxanthellae algae is very sensitive to change in water temperature, so the slightest change that the water heats up, the coral will eject the algae, leaving it with no food source and more susceptible to disease and mortality. Over the past century, the water temperature has only risen 0.1 degrees Celsius, so you may be thinking that's not a lot, like it can't change anything, but yet over the past years, we've seen several mass bleaching happen all over the world because of this slight change. So this is probably what you think of the Great Barrier Reef. You think it's pretty, teeming with life, stunning, colorful, but the reality is it hasn't been like this in a while, and it most likely never return to this how it was. The reality sort of looks like this. It suffered two back-to-back bleaching events, one in 2016, which occurred in the northern section of the reef, which is nearest to the equator, so therefore it was due to rise in water temperatures. And during this bleaching event, it is estimated that 29 to 50% of the coral died during this bleaching event. In 2017, a bleaching event occurred in the southern part of the reef due to water pollution from Category 4 cyclones coming in and destroying the towns nearby, and then the water pollution comes. By the year 2040, it's predicted that 25 of the 29 World Heritage reefs will experience 2 bleaching events a year, and at this point, they won't be able to reproduce, and then they won't be able to survive. By the year 2100, all coral reefs will be dead. Coral reefs only make up 1% of the ocean floor, but yet host 1/4 of the fish in the world. Reefs protect our coastlines against storms. Ruth Gates, director of Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology, said the reduction of food supplies, lack of coastal protection as the reef collapse and subsequent land erosion will make some places unlivable, and people will have to move, and that's not even mentioning reef-related tourism. Some things people are trying to do to save reefs are. So PADI is a dive organization, and a lot of people could get certified through it. They offer 2 specialization courses, one known as Underwater Naturalist, another one known as Coral Conservation. So these 2 courses allow divers to get to know the environments they're living in. They teach divers how humans are affecting the environment they're living in, and teach them how they can change this. Another course they offer is called Coral Restoration, and so it allows divers to get into the restoration process. So it teaches them how to plant coral, how to maintain the coral for future generations to enjoy, and for coral to protect our Earth in the future. So we won't get the effects of us losing our coral reefs. There's also artificial reefs. This dive site is off the coast of Virgin Gorda in the BVI's. It's known as the Kraken because there's a giant octopus built on the top of it. And the mesh cage allows coral growth on it, along as the boat allows coral growth. We also have the Liberty ship, which is 3 miles off our coast. It comprised of 5 different ships. The last ship was sunk in 1983. But even though it's a young site, we still see a lot of coral growth, which is good for the future of our coast and for Wilmington. Third way people are trying to revive coral reefs is making a super coral. So basically scientists go out to the reefs, they take samples of coral, and then they do a process called assisted evolution. And during that process, they reveal what they think future conditions could be like in the ocean to coral. And those corals who survive, they take the genes out of that and put it into young corals, and then they release them back into the ocean. So then hopefully they'll thrive. So you may be wondering, like, what can we do to help this whole process? So we could help it by not releasing chemicals into our waterway, choosing sustainable seafood sources, and not littering to oceans. We'd also save corals by practicing safe boating. So the Earth as a whole is connected, so even though coral bleaching isn't affecting us right now, it will eventually affect us in the future. By losing coral reefs, we'll lose our food sources, protection, and livable places. If coral bleaching continues as the way it is, we won't be wondering if the corals will survive, if the ocean will survive, if the things in the ocean will survive. We'll wonder if us as a human race and all can survive the mass coral bleaching events.